And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're talking about the breaking news as Von Miller signs a one-year deal with the Washington Commanders. We're going to be talking about how this is going to impact the Commanders this upcoming season. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, and many others for multiple touchdowns this upcoming season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we are talking about the Commanders landing Von Miller. And so if you have not got a chance to see this, head over to ESPN.com and you can go ahead and read about this. And so just to let you know, at the time of this recording, there is no details on this one-year deal. All we know right now is that he has signed a one-year deal with the Commanders. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's talk impact. Let's talk how the Commanders got here and just really what can we expect at this point in time from Von Miller in his career. And so let's go ahead and just go into just really how we got here, because the Commanders have been linked to going out and getting an edge rusher. We've talked about this really all off season, whether it was looking at players who could help the Commanders in the draft. Ultimately, they did not go out and draft an edge rusher. Then also, too, looking at free agents that the Washington Commanders could go out and get. And so at the start of free agency, that did not happen, although the Washington Commanders certainly were looking at the defense because they brought several players in, but they didn't necessarily go out there and get an edge rush specialist like Von Miller. And then we've been talking about just the trade rumors. We've been talking about TJ Watt. We've talked about Trey Hendrickson. We talked about Myles Garrett when we thought that he was available. And so many options that we were thinking the Washington Commanders were going to take. And we've even talked about Von Miller. And so it looks like it's come full circle. And now here is Von Miller. And so, look, Von Miller is an Adam Peters guy because Adam Peters was with the Denver Broncos in the front office there when they drafted Von Miller. And then he left in 2016 to go over to the San Francisco 49ers. And so point number one, Adam Peters, knows Von Miller. And once again, this kind of goes into how the Washington Commanders continue to really build this team as far as bringing in veterans and things like that. They have links here, either to Adam Peters or Dan Quinn. And so they're bringing in players that they really fit what they're trying to build here, either on the offensive end or the defensive end here. And so Von Miller definitely checks the box there. The next, when you look at Von Miller and just what he is in the National Football League as far as being a sack specialist, that definitely checks the box for what the Washington Commanders are looking for here as far as getting some edge rush help, because Von Miller has 129 and a half sacks at the time of this recording, which is 16th all time in sacks. And that's actually the most by an active player. So this guy is certainly a specialist as far as getting to the quarterback and getting the quarterback down. Next with Von Miller, he's going to give you a ton of experience. You're looking at a guy that is a 3-time first-team All-Pro. You're also looking at a 2-time Super Bowl champ, and he was an MVP in one of those Super Bowls as well. And so this is a guy that has been to the top of the mountain. And so when you're bringing this type of player in, that is certainly going to impact your locker room. And I do like that. I like the fact that you're bringing in a guy that is a specialist like this, that has done it at a high level, and he's hoisted up the trophy, which is something that the Washington Commanders want to get to. And so next, when you look at the production here, this is where you wonder about it, because over the last 3 seasons with the Buffalo Bills here, he's had 14 sacks in 3 seasons. And I think really the question here with Von Miller is, can you keep him healthy? Can you keep him fresh for a playoff run? I think that that's going to be extremely huge for the Washington Commanders to really benefit off of Von Miller signing with the Commanders. And so when you look at the numbers over the last 3 seasons, the amount of games that he's played, 12 in 2022, 12 in 2023, and 13 in 2024. When you look at the forced fumbles, he's only had 1 forced fumble in those seasons that I just talked about here. So 22, 23, and 24. So doesn't have too many forced fumbles over the last couple seasons. And so, again, you're bringing in a guy that he has done it for a long time, and you're hoping that he can give you something here, because I think that Von Miller at this point in time in his career, he's 36 years old. I'm not sure that he's going to be an every down type of player, especially coming off the injuries that he's had. And I think that he's going to be on a bit of a rotational standpoint. Now, when you look at that situation, and with Von Miller coming in on a rotation standpoint, I feel like that if Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. can manage him, this might be one of those deals where we and say that this is a value type of signing. And so this fits really with what Joe Witt Jr. wants to do, with having more versatility on the defensive end. He wanted to get some more length. He wanted to get some more speed and power. And so you also get some experience here with Von Miller. And so hopefully Von Miller is able to come in, be a rotational piece here, and just be a guy that can go out there, generate some pass rush, and also hopefully get to the quarterback at a good clip here. So we'll see what's left in the tank. And so I just think that it's going to be an interesting mix, and it looks good on paper. It's just going to be a matter of, does it all fit together when it comes down to week one? That is the question, and really keeping everybody healthy, because I do like the ads that the Washington Commanders have gone out and got here over the offseason, because you get Eddie Goldman to help you up front. You have Javon Kinlaw to go along with Johnny Newton, who I think is going to have a good year this year, especially now that he's not dealing with the foot issues that he had last year. Then you have Dietrich Wise Jr., who I think is really going to have a huge impact here for us. Jacob Martin as well. I like what we have going on here in the secondary. Hopefully we could take care of Trey Amos and get him taken care of, because I do think that he could really fight for the starting job opposite of Marshawn Lattimore. And so hopefully we get a defense that's going to get some takeaways in the secondary. You're hoping that you're going to be able to have, that really taken care of up front, with just the pass rush that we're going to be able to generate there, and some chaos. I'm curious to see how this is going to really balance out as far as stopping the run, because to me, I think that that's like the biggest key right here. Because if we're, looking at this situation and saying, okay, hey, we have got to get past the Eagles. This is a team that rushed for 200 on us. And so we've got to figure out a way to plug up that run. And then I think you can kind of go from there. So it's going to be interesting to see how Joe Witt Jr. is able to put these pieces together out there. But this is the breaking news. Von Miller has officially signed here with the Washington Commanders. And like I said, I mean, this is a team that could have went a different direction too in free agency, because, a couple names that I talked about here was Matthew Judon, who's still out there, and then also too, Jadeveon Clowney. And so I know that both of these players haven't been the most consistent players, but they are also edge rush specialists, and they're a little bit younger. And so we'll see how this does work out ultimately here. You guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. And lastly, before we jump out of here, I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to give a huge shout out here to Art Monk. And so it looks like that his jersey is set to be retired in week 9. That is going to be when the Washington Commanders are going to play the Seahawks here. I believe that is going to be a Monday night game, November the 2nd. And that is actually one of the games where they're going to be wearing these throwback uniforms. So it's going to be a ton of energy in the building. And this is huge, with Art Monk, who is already in the Hall of Fame, and he was just Mr. Reliable. That's pretty much how I remember him as a wide receiver. And besides that, you know what? He has one of the coolest trading cards that I have seen, and one of the ones that I love all the time when I look at trading cards. And you guys know what I'm talking about if you do collect player cards. And so this is his old Topps card. But anyway, Art Monk set to have his jersey retired. And so definitely make sure, if you can, get out there and check out this game. It is going to be a Monday night game. You can also go over to commanders.com and you can read about this a little bit more and give you some insight just on how impactful he was. Like I said, this guy was one of the most reliable wide receivers that I have ever seen play in the National Football League. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking about Von Miller. Do you think that this is going to be a huge impact here for the Commanders? Do you think that this is going to be the signing that takes us to the top. Are we winning the Super Bowl with this, or do you think we're even in the game here with Von Miller? I'd love to hear the thoughts there. And then lastly, let me know what you guys are thinking here with Art Monk and him or getting his jersey retired here once again week 9. So anyway, as we always say, look, go Commanders, and I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.